Hello everyone, this is the part 2nd of the module 7. In this we will discuss that what happened at these tectonic plates. Plate boundaries. There are three basic plates as explained you: convergent, divergent and transform. So the plates interact with one another when they are moving throughout the on earth, so they interact with one another. Each of these plate boundaries has the potential to create different geological features. As the different geological features we saw, like trenches, mid-oceanic ridges, different mountains, plateaus. So these different features also made by the movement of these plates. So the first, as explained you, when two plates come to each other and collide, this is the called as convergent boundary. When two plates move away from each other, means separate from each other, it called as divergent boundary. And when two plates slides along one another, means they move, or we can say the pass from the side of one another plate, this is called as transform boundaries. So let's see the first kind of plate, that is the convergent boundary. As explained you, convergent means the plates come together, they come to each other. But again, there are three type of the convergent boundary. Means, as you know, there are two kind of crust: oceanic crust and continent crust. And the oceanic crust is much heavier in comparison to the continent crust. So when these two kind of plates, means the continent or the ocean, come to each other, they form three kind of formations: continent continent collision, continent ocean collision and ocean ocean collision. So let's see one by one. First is continent continent. When continent continent boundaries, or we can say the plates, come to each other, they forms mountains like European Alps, Himalayas. So here you can see that continent continent boundaries come to each other. So the heavier plate comparatively, which one is heavier in comparison between two? So the heavier plate sinks below the light plate, and the heavier plate move above this light plate. So, and there is a shrinking of the material and there is a formation of the folded mountains. The folded mountains in all over the world mainly form due to the convergent movement of the plates. As you can see, the Himalaya, Alps, these are the different example of the convergent. Basically, convergent is continent-continent plate. Next we will discuss the continent and ocean. The continent and ocean, when the two plates come to each other, so the oceanic crust, which I already told you that the more dense in comparison to the continent plate. So the oceanic crust, as you can see, this move toward the continent crust, because the dense, as you know, the dense things tend to sink and the light thing tend to rise. So the dense plate tend to sink in a subduction zone, and the light plate, according to the is move above this oceanic crust. So now the next question, that what the mean of subduction zone? Subduction, basically the mean of the subduction zone, when the oceanic plates subduct under the continent plates, mean they move to the under continent plates. So due to the heat, the oceanic plate become melt, and the melt material or the melted material form the lava basically, or the magma, and this melt rises forming the volcanoes and formation the Andes mountains. So this is the another kind of continent and ocean plate formation. Next, the last is ocean plates. When two ocean plates come to each other, what will happen? So when two oceanic plates collide or come to each other, one run over the other, which causes it to sink in the mantle, forming a subduction zone, as I explained you. And the subduction plate is bent toward the form a very deep depression in the oceanic floor called a trench. Trench, we can say a deep valleys or a deep trough is called as trench. So the world deepest part of the ocean are found along these trenches. And as you know, the Mariana Trench is near about 11 kilometer deep, and this formed due to the oceanic movement of the plate boundaries. And the last one is the transform boundaries, means when two plates slide past each other, there is, we can say, there is no new formation of the crust, or there is no harsh or the reduction of the crust. Pacific Ring is a important example of this kind of transform boundaries. Pacific Ring, this is called as Ring of Fire. Mean in Pacific Ocean, there you can see the red dots. These all red dots explain us the most seismic areas for earthquake as well as for the volcanic activities. So volcanism is mostly focused on plate margins. So let's sum up the theory. The plate tectonic. The earth is made of three main layers, as I know: crust, mantle and core. On the surface of the earth are tectonic plates that slow move around the globe, whether there is a continent crust or whether there is a oceanic crust. Plates are made of crust and upper mantle, lithosphere upper part, that in form of solid and semi-liquid, and these solid mean the lithosphere floated on the asthenosphere. There are two types of plates: continent plate and ocean plate, and three types of plate boundaries, or we can say the plate movement: convergent, divergent and transform. Volcanoes and earthquake are closely linked to the margin of the tectonic plates. Where are the margin of these plates? Means the boundaries of these plates, whether they are oceanic crust or whether they are continental plate or oceanic plate, there are most suitable area, or we can say the most important area for the volcano or the earthquake activities. Thank you.